who are you? There's a lot of misconnection with social status
Yeah.
and value. And because you're a part of like a team that, you know, has a status on the campus, that you have an elevated status by association. It's just the minute that you're off the team.
What you finna do?
Yeah. And who are you?
There are actually so many disadvantages and things
Yeah.
that an athlete will miss out on because they're not getting
I think
just
there's a
this
lot
other experience.
I mean, people have that same type of letdown when they leave a prominent job.
Stay Sharp, episode 30. I'm Jordan Ray, and joining me is my other half, Rashad Tyler.
We in here.
We are the duo behind Rare Label, which produces this podcast and also supports brands and businesses from strategy to implementation.
From everywhere.
From everywhere. You are here to go to school on or just observe our experiences.
You appreciate it.
And if you like what you see, make sure you like and you comment and you click that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Also, feel free to hit us up. We have an intro call link in our show description. If you want to send us an email, our email address is in there as well.
Let's talk.
We'd love to hear from you if you're looking for some support on your business.
Yeah, big or small, it's okay, man. We want to be useful. And to the extent that we can be, we're down for you. Hit us up.
Yeah, we'll link our capabilities deck as well.
Yeah, you have some idea of the level.
There's a lot of motorcycles outside.
It is. It's that time of year. It's that time of year. People are in and out. I guess right now we've kind of passed the busiest part of this particular month, but coming right into good old festival season.
I'm about to be here.
Yeah.
You rode on a motorcycle before?
Yeah. I grew up riding dirt bikes.
Motorcycles and dirt bikes are the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
No?
I mean, why there's different names then?
Because motorcycles you ride on the road, but they're constructed the same. You know, you just call it a dirt bike because, you know, you're riding on dirt, but
yeah,
you know, we're in the country, we're riding in the street too.
That's crazy. I didn't know that you rode dirt bikes as a child.
And not crazy, like it wasn't our main thing, but like, you know, Art had a CR60 and a CR80, and we had a 4-wheeler and a 3-wheeler, and then we had a go-karts.
Yeah, that's
the
dope.
whole thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I told you a couple stories about this kind of stuff today. Yeah.
Otherwise, how you feeling?
We out here.
Yeah.
It's always a thing to see Jordan and Jordan.
You know, one of my favorite brands.
I mean, you know, do you own stock in Jordan?
No. Like,
so we changed that. We changed that today.
Okay.
Yeah, we changed that today.
Yeah.
Send me some money and I'll buy it for you.
You got that.
No, it should be in your own brokerage account, obviously. So we gotta get you straightened out.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if there was a brand called Rashad and you got, you know,
there's
had your name.
No way they would allow Rashad on the NASDAQ to be a big. There's no way. I don't know. I wonder what stock exchange. Rashad could be a player at. It would have to be some foreign exchange of some type. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, it is interesting to have clothing that has your name on it. Sometimes I don't really think twice about it because it's just so common. But when you think about it, most people don't have their name as a brand that you just wear it.
No, I mean, even somebody that like could buy like a jersey because they have the same last name as the person on the jersey. So like Adrian is like that. Like everybody Bryant, they're claiming him. Mm-hmm. So he's a Kobe guy.
That's dope.
On some level because of Kobe's mindset, but mostly because he's also Bryant.
Yeah.
Dad's Bryant. Like he's like, oh, them Bryant boys. Like that's his whole thing.
Are there a lot of Tylers like that?
No.
That's crazy because Tyler is a very common last name.
It's a common first name.
Okay. Yeah, you got 2 first names. Or, yeah. Anyways. Yeah. Speaking of athletes, though.
Yes.
We wanted to take this conversation and share our experiences with being athletes, but not only athletes, coaches, and then turning that into business ownership, entrepreneurship for you. There could be, you might think that people who are athletes think that they had an advantage. However, there are also things that held athletes back, if not more. Like there's pros and there's cons to, being a former athlete, even coaching, and the things that you carry with you, the teamwork and the discipline that comes along with doing those things at a high level. But there's so much stuff too that you have to unlearn. So it's not all, red carpet rolled out for you because you were a college athlete or because you coached and you won championships. You're still missing the mark on other things that other people are getting to experience or getting ahead on. So yeah, like hamper, hinder, advanced, how has your experience with being an athlete? You were a shooting guard.
Oh, I could shoot that. I could shoot the thing too.
I could tell.
I was a good player. I was a really good player.
We played once.
Yeah, I was a good player. And no, I ain't let her win. No, ain't no way.
I just want to make sure people know that you was a shooting guard. I was a point guard. That was the only position that I played.
Yeah. I would play the point in absence of the other guy, but I knew if I was going to play at the next level, I would have to move to the one. But either way it goes, people leverage competitiveness, and I'm clear that it's not a good way to go about anything. Sometimes it's the only thing that you can do, and that's dope, right? You got to use the appropriate tool for what the moment kind of asks of you.
So do you think competitiveness hinders people?
Well, here's the problem. It's external. So as a competitor, you need opposition. So what happens is you got to find or create opposition all the time. I think that's a part of what's happening in some of the music landscape. That's why some of the music sucks. Because people need adversity in order to create something instead of creating from other places. Businesses, of course, if you're looking for a competitor in a space or trying to beat somebody in a space, then that's not a good reason to enter the space. And especially if you win, how do you find up? So it's really important that people, if you are only leveraging competitiveness, and again, it can be great in certain moments, right? Because you got to use, again, whatever tool you can use in order to move yourself along. But the great ones are all looking and creating games inside of the game that they're playing. Larry Bird was probably never playing against people. He was talking trash, just like laughing and creating a game inside of the game of that. But, there's like stories about him playing left-handed and all of those other things. Like he's playing against his ability to make shots at a certain clip. He's playing at like, how many shots left-handed can I make, right? He's creating his own games inside of the game. And again, no matter what we're talking about, that's the level of like detail that folks start to get to. I mean, I think I mentioned Kobe earlier in the conversation. He's another one who mastered the game inside of the game. That's why he was able to find and translate his mind into other things prior to his death, because he was able to figure out what the game inside of the game was. And it was really knowledge, skill acquisition, mastery. What are the habits? What are the things that it takes in order to do or deliver things at a certain level? And he fell in love with the game of the game and was able to thereby create games inside of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there something that helped you or hindered you
from
your athletic background?
I learned that I learned how to compare that because I was very limited with how I could go about things because I only had the competitive piece.
Yeah. So the limitation is that you are fueled off of competition and not being fueled off of other.
Everything that I like, the first piece of success that I ever had, I would say professionally, was really, because it really wasn't professionally, but it was running a fraternity. And I literally leveraged competition from other fraternities on the yard for our success.
Yeah.
Bad. All bad. It worked out, but needing to beat them didn't make us great.
Mm-hmm.
We were just better than them. You know what I'm saying? We were really good. And that's how I even learned that. I'm like, we're actually not that good, you know? Everybody else just sucks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And honestly, most of the success that I've had in my career has been that.
The hindrance for me was, as an athlete, sometimes this is going to sound crazy, but you're babied, or you're you're kind of coddled in a way because people, your coaches or the extended organization, right? The program, like, they want to take care of you. And especially playing in college, I remember at the particular university that I went to, we had an on-campus housing situation, which sometimes could, not be so sexy. But in this particular case, it wasn't bad. Like, I honestly wasn't bothered by it. But you're not getting that experience of paying rent. Just something as simple as that I didn't come into until after I was out of college. So you're kind of living this adult life, but it is totally different when you get out into the real world. And I remember just finding that interesting. Okay, yeah, like our coaches, the program, the athletic department, whatever, like took care of the rent because we were on campus, but we never was involved in that exchange. So it's just like, oh, this is where you live, whatever. You get out into the real world and it's totally different. And then just knowing that you're not getting any special treatment anymore because you're, the point guard of the basketball team or, whatever sport that you play. And that was kind of a wake up call in a good way. Just very interesting, it wasn't subtle.
So the shielding was the thing, though.
The shielding. Yeah, kind of that protection that you feel, that someone else is still going to take care of something. And, you have a responsibility still in a job to show up and, you're under contract, whatever. And you still need to do your part. But you have a lot of padding.
Yeah.
Whereas in this case, the other students at my school, they're like,
they didn't have that covered.
Yeah. We got jobs. That's another thing. I wasn't quite able to have a job while playing basketball. I mean, that is your job, right? And so you're missing out on all of that experience and even some of those internships because the hours just don't line up.
It's the most dangerous thing about like having success as a basketball player. It's something that I've been talking to Devon about. Not as much Diamond. I know I spent some time talking about it with Amber Smith. Tiffany kind of, jumped off, and, a lot of other kids. But the challenge overall is giving them perspective on what their peers are doing compared to them during that same time frame. So I'm going, while you are going and doing basketball camps in the summer, Billy, who comes from a much richer family, who's gonna, go on to be competing for the same types of jobs that you are wanting to compete for, he's going to internship. So I was looking at like the Obama kids, and I'm going like, those girls don't look like IG girls, IG models. I'm like, they probably didn't play team sports. So they don't even have this distraction,
When do team sports become a distraction?
First of all, I don't know nothing about the girls, number one. Number two, my experience with team sports has been incredibly positive, and it gives a concept of things to rally around when there are people who have a similar experience. It also teaches giving and, you know, just the team environment. But overall, I don't know that really is of the benefit that I initially believed that it was.
Yeah. I'm interested to hear from, you know.
You don't hear about Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett and like none of these guys are a team sport guy like Musk.
But that was my point on to me, and maybe it was because I came from an athletic background, that it seems that we're kind of in this crystal ball or this glass, and it, you know, you feel like people are looking at you or judging you, stereotyping you a certain way. And that's why having this conversation was like, whoa, do people look at athletes in a certain way, like in a positive or a negative, or that? Because what I'm trying to say is I just assumed that people were judging athletes like myself, especially like when I was a college athlete, you know, oh, they got it made, when there are actually so many disadvantages and things that an athlete will miss out on because they're not getting, I think, just this other experience.
There's a lot of misconnection with social status and value. And because you're a part of like a team that, you know, has a status on the campus, that you have an elevated status by, you know, association.
Okay.
And it just kind of is what it is, right? In that way. It's just the minute that you're off the team, the minute you're out of the league, whatever that league might be.
What you finna do?
Yeah. And who are you? Because you've probably associated a lot of your self-identity or your identity to the thing that you do, which can be dangerous no matter what. I mean, people have that same type of letdown when they leave a prominent job.
All right. So let me ask you this. So former athlete, so on and so forth, things that hindered and helped us, but going into the world and working the workforce, kind of figuring out what our career was going to be. What is your, maybe not favorite job? It could be your favorite job or a job that you learned the most from. And like, what did you learn?
Oh, yeah. I tell you about being in Atlanta as a kid, like 14 and working at a tire shop. That was it.
Slinging tires.
Slinging tires. Because the first thing was the camaraderie, like the way that those older men work together and like what they had us doing and just like getting dirty and just like being up and in front of the door at 7 a.m. 5 days a week.
The door for customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like being there.
Open up that office.
Get to it. And at 5 o'clock, you're not done until 5. And you eat lunch, you know, every day with everybody. Right. But learning the skills and like fighting through what you didn't know and just, you know, having a triumph for like putting the first time I was able to put a tire onto a rim. It's a glorious experience, you know? And at that young age, the impression that the confidence that it gave me is that I could do hard stuff. And I've shared, you know, different moments where that was kind of reinforced. And it was like, oh, yeah, I could. Because you don't know how to even change oil. And now I won't wash a car. But the point is like, you know, having done all of that, I'm just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could change a tire. Yeah. You used to work at a tire shop.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I forgot about that story for a while. Yeah. But I also didn't know that the camaraderie was something, that's big word. That's an important word.
I forget one of the older guy who was like, you know, the wisdom guy. I remember the guy who was like the clown, this guy Frank. I got to ask my cousin Mike about them, about how they're doing. But being around older Black men like that, I wouldn't change or exchange that for anything. That's the type of love that, you know, probably goes understated in terms of how I tell the story.
Yeah, that's a tear.
Yeah.
Like a little tear.
Yeah. And Wendell, of course, you know, big Wendell, whose shop it was.
Yeah, shout out to Wendell.
Yeah.
I think I have known one other person. I don't know your Wendell, but I knew one person that was named Wendell. And you know how sometimes names, you just like, oh, they a good person because their name is something.
Wendell was a hell of a guy.
I mean, he took care of his, you know.
That's right.
Like he took care of somebody.
That's right. That's Jazz and Jordan's dad.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I worked at a Coach store. Now, this is not to be confused with being a basketball coach.
No.
This is the actual Coach luxury handbags, design, you know, whatever. And I applied for a job. I don't even remember, you know, why I applied there. I just knew that I didn't want to work at the mall, like inside of a mall. So I was like, retail, I can get into retail, but I want to work at the outdoor mall, the nice boutique area in Tulsa. So I got a job at Coach working part-time, and I learned so much from that because I learned how to open a store, do inventory, understand window displays. Now, I never got a chance to do the window display. Obviously, they have people from the region or national that come in and actually do the window treatments. But just learning how products should be displayed on shelves and that there's a method to that and a guide and brand guides for that. Learning about colors and textures like the leathers and what the difference is between, you know, the collections.
Right.
Like why something is more expensive or the hardware on something, the gift wrapping. And that was those skills that I was learning, the sales. Like you approach someone within 3 seconds of walking into the store, how you read the room and kind of vibe with someone when you approach them, when you try to upsell, just all of these, how you keep track of who you sold a bag to. So next Christmas, next Mother's Day, you can hit that person up. Yeah. And you get clientele that way. So I worked there. I didn't quite make a year, but maybe a little less than a year. And then I also had a wonderful manager. So the store manager was, I mean, she killed it. And I remember just seeing her. She was young and she was so present with us. She wanted the store to do well. Yeah. Because she understood what was in it for everybody. But she was to me, it felt like she was natural at it. But knowing what I know now, she was probably studying that stuff. I do not know where she is today. Yeah. But I saw management leadership at a high level from her, and she was young. Yeah. She was probably my age now. But it just felt like, wow, you know, this is inspirational to be at a retail store. Cause I'm like, I don't want to work here forever. Like I know that already. Yeah. But I'm trying to I want to work somewhere where, you know, I can get some deals. Yeah. I had bought a few Coach bags. I believe you. I ain't make no money at that store.
You know what's crazy?
So bought the bags.
Like I've become I've never like loved that brand. So, but you've given me so much more room to appreciate and respect it.
It's different. Like, I just want to be careful. I don't want to offend anybody, but Coach, however, and why ever they rolled out their factory stores. Yeah. That was when the signature pattern and the signature canvas type of woven.
They hurt themselves by,
I don't know. And we should go back and research this, why that decision was made. But they decided to introduce some sort of factory outlet version of Coach. And that was not the real store.
Yeah. We watched a couple of things.
They had to come back. That's why the campaign with Jennifer Lopez and Michael B. Jordan, like all of this stuff that Coach has done the past 5-7 years. I feel like they had to be like, no, like we legit, because they had some of the nicest handbags. I'm like, this is beautiful. Like this is amazing. But it's not mainstream. You know, you have to dig for that stuff.
But it's two other brands that we watched do something similar. I believe Tory Burch was on a similar, like
Michael Kors, maybe.
Kors on that. Yeah. Yeah. It's a couple. Yeah. It's interesting how how those things played.
Yeah, they totally had to bounce back. I think that
and I've never read anything about the space, you know.
Yeah.
I think a large part of it is like choosing a volume-based business as opposed to continuing down the status symbol,
The
high
price
ticket.
point. Yeah. I think that coaches ready to wear, there's something to be said about that. Now, I'm not saying it competes with European designers. Let's be careful. It's an American design. And that sounds so crazy. I am not qualified to talk about this, but I'm pretty sure Coach is one of the first, if not the first, leather goods manufacturers in the States.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, again, I'm not sure the whole history. This would actually be an amazing story to kind of go research. And I'm regretful that we didn't for this podcast. But yeah, there's definitely a detail and a quality to Coach the products.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I just know that because I worked there. Like I saw what the $1,000, $2,000 bags look like compared to the stuff that you could get at the outlet mall.
Right.
That was, $30, $40, $75 that then really took the value down. And it's like, oh, everybody got a Coach bag. And I'm like, well, that's from the factory store.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like walking into, a sneaker shop and being like, no, these aren't Yeezys.
Right.
Like, I don't know how they got here. I don't care. It ain't none of my business.
Right.
But this ain't it.
So it's instead of doing the brand separation that Gap, Old Navy, and what is the other brand? Banana Republic.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the different brand distribution channels.
Put a different
developed.
name on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So fast forward to now as a grown-ass adult,
mm-hmm.
What have you learned about yourself, most about yourself, by owning your own business, starting your own businesses, being self-employed?
It's all on you. It's all on you. And there's a quote around this that's really good that I do not have a handle on. But the basic idea is becoming an entrepreneur is forcing you to become a better person. Because you don't know why you're failing. And you don't know, you don't know who you need to be in order to win. So you got to try to pay attention to every potential part of you and your existence and your behavior that's hindering your progress. So you actually have to become a really good person, really good leader, really good business, all of that. You got to master a lot of things in order to be good. So I think that choice has been the driver of my own self-development.
Mm-hmm. Being able to learn about, become a better person.
Yeah, because you think like, I want to get the sale. What are the reasons that I will fail to get the sale? People don't like you. So you got to work on being likable.
Mm-hmm.
You're not organized. You're not cleanly. Everything could be a reason.
Yeah.
And so you have to start looking inward and stay looking inward all the time. So it's been the thing that's driving towards self-improvement more than any other thing, because I can't have those obvious reasons, obvious or not, reasons that I'm failing.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So once I saw that quote, I was like, oh, that's so dead on.
Yeah. I'm familiar with what you're talking about. Like, it'll teach you the most about yourself than anything else. Like this career, this decision. I've learned for myself that I am way more rigid than I need to be. And especially working in a creative industry and coming from a systems person, kind of coming from leadership roles that I've come from, and being so like, this is the way it goes. Mm-hmm. It's A, B, C, D, E every time. But with the work that we do and the nuances, the quick on your feet that you have to be sometimes, and being able to really empathize with clients and partners, like I haven't always been the best at letting stuff flow. This is how it is. And when it's not that way, I get frazzled. So I've really learned that about me. Like, okay, you're rigid, which is a good thing to have sometimes, maybe not a lot of times, but cool. You can tap into that when you need to. But let's figure out, Jordan, how to get that out of you, because the easier you can be, you know, like soft, like the pillow, right? Like the pillow is not ever going to break.
Right.
Instead of, you know, the brick or whatever, like those things, you drop it,
Strong
they can
like
break.
The pillow as opposed to the brick. That's right.
Yeah, that would be my biggest thing is it's not about the money, the sales. It's not about even the creative and the execution. That, you know, it's what I have learned about me is you need to you loosen up. Like you're too tight. And, you know, you reflect that back to me sometimes. I'm not.
Yeah. I ain't taking no
as tough up as I was, but
yeah. I think there's like so much self-accounting that comes with realizing if it don't happen, it's your fault. That's just going to force you to be, but this is kind of back to team sports, right? That's what happens in team sports.
Yeah.
The leader assumes everything's their fault or they have a chance to impact it. I think that has a lot of value.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think I came into entrepreneurship with that because I don't want to be careful. I don't want to use the word entrepreneurship. I came into business ownership with that, me.
Yeah.
Because I always played point guard. I was always the leader. I needed to know top down what was happening on both ends of the floor, both teams, so on and so forth. And if we took a loss, it was just like, you know, what could I have done better for everybody? Where I think my other teammates was just kind of like, well, what could I have done better? You know, that would have resulted in a better outcome where I'm like, okay, what could I have done better for everybody? What could they have done? How could I have communicated with the coach in this sort of way? How could we have prepped? We got to get back to practice. Cool.
But I think that's precisely what's so dangerous about, like, you know, the comparison from like our athletic experience and this, because being on this side, it's much more like being the owner of the franchise. It is, I need to, if I need to, maybe the GM. If I need to be able to go down to the bench. If you were Michael Jordan, you would leave there and then become a player. Like you would do whatever you could to try and make sure that you got success. But the ingredients of that were far beyond just what's happening on the floor. It's how you draft. It's who's in the front office. It's the city you play in. It's the coaching staff, the facilities, the weight training program. It's so much more that's impacting whether or not you really even had a chance, regardless of whether or not you checked all of the boxes. You see what I'm saying? So it's like in entrepreneurship, you can do everything right. You can just be selling the wrong product at the wrong time and in the wrong market. So it doesn't matter how good you are. You're choosing the wrong thing.
Yeah. All right, let me prompt with this. Would you go to work for somebody else?
I would love to.
I'm shocked.
Really?
Yeah.
But that's the problem. That's why it's never come to me and I've never positioned for it either.
Yeah. Would you want to position? Like,
I don't know how to position for it other than to say, we're this good as a whole, my organization, hire us to help you, somebody
though, I
up.
think.
But there's no other way for me to transact at the level that I should transact at.
Yeah.
Right? Because how big is the organization to bring me in to run a department? You wouldn't want me to run your existing department. You want somebody who is, like you just said, like somebody who just knows how to run the plays.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want somebody who's going to try to architect.
Yeah.
You know, or create the system. So you go like, oh, I want to partner with him.
Yeah. So
I guess I'm going to hire him. That's the problem that you have with people like me, because you don't perceive me as do what I say.
An operator, No, and I'm glad you answered it like that. And that's why I'm shocked, because I'm like, wait, hold up. but you're thinking of things through still like the agency lens, which makes sense. Like you're hiring me and like the team, you're hiring like my company basically.
Yeah, because I don't. So I'll go like if I really looked at it and I go, okay, who will look at me and say, yo, I want him to be the GM of my company? You wouldn't. You want somebody who's going to be a direct report to you and do what you tell them to do. You want somebody who's very much a manager. So you wouldn't
work with somebody.
No,
because I think that the question I'm trying to ask is, and maybe I didn't, it's just hypothetically speaking, like you as the individual.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying to you, I would love to.
Right, but they won't hire you.
Yeah, they wouldn't see me that way.
Yeah, so you won't be able to work for somebody.
I would work for somebody because they would hire me for a job. They would say, okay, we have this problem. We think that you can fix this problem for us. Just here.
Got it.
Right? So that's working for somebody. I just don't think I could fill one of those other role types because of the way that I go about solving problems. Yeah. And what my skill sets are.
No, totally. I got that.
So you look at me like a consultant, right? High level consultant, board member, all of those other things, but not somebody who's going to work under you. My personality type is too driving to be a second seat to someone.
Yeah.
Unless they are a puppet leader on some level and comfortable with that.
That's the answer. That's totally what I was looking for. It's just, I think that I don't know, that you kind of, I'm like, you're not hireable. Not in a
That's
bad
what I'm
way.
saying. Yeah, but you asked me would I be
yeah, because
cool
now I'm
it?
confused because you're like, yeah, I would totally be cool with like working for someone else. Yeah. But you're also saying in the same breath that like, but I can't work for somebody else because I'm too.
I could. I'm saying that I'm not perceived by like the people who would do the hiring would not perceive me as a person who's hireable.
Yeah,
and I'm telling
I agree
you
with
why.
That. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of still confused, but I understand.
How? I'm going on one hand, yes, I would totally be into it. But I know that nobody would hire me to fit these kinds of roles, even though I'd be game for it.
Maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like it took a minute to come around to that. That's why I was like, I'm shocked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I answered both sides of it. Like, why hasn't it happened? Or what's the hindrance?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. For me, I definitely would work for somebody. It just would need to be the right fit based on what I know now and how I have been able to get into business for myself. And it would just have to be a really good fit if I was, getting an opportunity with someone outside or, a company with outside of the agency. Now, obviously, this is in a world where like, if the agency wasn't a thing, that's why I'm like asking this hypothetical question. Would you work for somebody else if our agency wasn't a thing?
Yeah, I think you're very hireable. I think that's also like, you're much more compliant.
Yeah, but I would go, what I'm saying is I would consider it like it's, I think that there's some people who would answer that question, no, I'm pretty clear. I only want to work for myself, and I'm like, no, I'm not of that opinion. I would totally go work for another company or something if it made sense though, based on what I know now.
Yeah. I don't think there's a serious entrepreneur in the world that would say, well, I must only work for myself. I don't believe that's their position. Because you wouldn't be a successful entrepreneur if you only had that position. Now, compensation is a very different thing.
Okay.
Right? Ownership doesn't mean leadership.
That made me think about some more stuff, but I don't know if it's because my prompt wasn't, as good. It's, it's okay though.
Yeah.
But
it was a lot of angles that you probably didn't anticipate.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Anyways, I definitely I'm glad that, we kind of got some stuff off of our chest and just really being, you know, from an athletic background is not all that it's chalked up to being.
No.
And there were so many things that we, you know, literally had to figure out because we didn't learn them when our peers were learning them, and
unlearn some too.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, you may have a relatable story if you have coached or you have played sports, you know, at any level. You may have an experience. Totally leave us some love or a comment if you have. And, you know, you're maybe raising some kids who are playing sports, right? And kind of how you're guiding them through that and being able to make sure that they're well-rounded without the athletic activities being the forefront
That's right.
of everything. So
That's right.
I don't know. That's not really advice. It's just like, yeah, it's not all that it's chalked up to be. So.
Not at all.
Appreciate you for watching this episode of Stay Sharp. Definitely check our show notes, our email, our capabilities deck, intro call link, all of that stuff if you want to get in touch with us. We look forward to dropping some information about some workshops coming up. Stay tuned, and we'll see you then.
Stay sharp, folks.
Thank y'all.
Bye.